So I've been testing out the new iPhone 17 Pro in different types of shooting environments to see if it can actually handle real filmmaking challenges. I've also put it side by side against my URSA 12K, and I want to see how that compares. But in this video, what we're going to do is put the iPhone in impossible situations. We're also going to talk about some of its new standout features like ProRes RAW and Open Gate. So let's head on over to Rialto, where I've been working on this documentary, and see how I'm gonna be using the new iPhone to get some really cool and interesting shots. All right, so I'm here with my boy Greg. We're actually shooting a documentary. We've been doing it for a while, and we're using the URSA 12K just because we want to make sure this looks the best. We're also using the Lumix S1 too, but there's a particular shot that we want to get of him tattooing. And what is this called, this thing?
Bishop rotary machine, the Chapo.
Nice. So what we want to do is, hopefully this works. We want to rig this up. We have this iFootage clamp that we're going to rig up to here, and then hopefully we can get a POV shot. Now, you're probably wondering, why not just shoot it with like a mirrorless camera? The thing is, even a mirrorless camera is still very heavy. I mean, even this is technically probably even pushing it. Obviously we're tattooing, or he's tattooing somebody. It could be unsafe. Do you feel comfortable with this? Is this pretty, you want to hold it? It should be okay?
This is a new style. Old school coil machines, probably just as heavy, so.
So, okay, cool. So something like this, like he said, I mean, I'm not no tattoo expert, but something like this is maybe more traditional. So it's right in line in terms of weight. So this is where the iPhone is really gonna shine, to be able to get these type of like shots that are probably impossible to do with like any other camera.
It's that shit to make them all go dummy. Now I got bready, I want something from me. Showing like pros, man, I told them that it's money. And I own my own bars just like it's always sunny. Ugh, thought she said something to me. We were never friends, told them I am not your buddy. Now they all call, I got some buzz like honey. Then they check the Spotify and they looking at me funny. I don't blame you, dog, that's how this shit goes. Same two paths, we just pick different roads. Glue on the safe, I just stuck to the code. Now they tell me that I'm driven, bro, I already drove.
Since we were still experimenting and this was all pre-production, I wanted to test out the iPhone in a different situation where I normally wouldn't use a cinema camera for safety reasons. So for this next shot, what I want to do is use the phone, because we could technically use a bigger camera, but it could be dangerous, because what we're trying to do is we have a lowrider here that's going to be hopping, and when you hop and you use a big camera, a lot of things can go wrong. A, the camera can damage the car, or B, the car can damage the camera, even the lenses, because it's, you know, it's so abrupt. In fact, a lot of times with these lowriders, they end up breaking the suspension. That's a very common thing because it's so brutal. So using a phone like this makes more sense. And yeah, we're just kind of experimenting, putting the phone in areas that just you normally wouldn't use a camera. So anyway, hopefully this works. So one of the problems that we're having is that the ND is shifting. Every time it bounces, it rotates. So like the exposure keeps changing. So we would definitely have to use like a hard stop ND. I don't have any, so unfortunately. If we could run it again, I'm gonna disable OIS, but otherwise then it is what it is. Sadly, when we try to run it again, the car broke down. What are some of the common problems when people hop their lowrider? What usually breaks?
My heart, after I break some shit. Ball joints.
Ball joints.
Ball joints. When you're so basically it's powered by 8 batteries, 3 pumps. It's either a motor out of one of the pumps, a battery could fail. If the batteries are low, solenoids could fail. Most likely it's a ball joint from slapping so hard, it'll break. You know what I mean? Let me double check those. But yeah, ball joints.
Luckily, one of his friends with another lowrider came through, so shout out to Lino for letting us use his car and run this test again. But even with the image stabilization off and that brutal movement, the sensor still moves. I mean, it does look better, but it still causes this warp effect. Now, since we were still experimenting, I thought it would be cool to get a 3/4 shot of the car from behind while it goes into a 3-wheel motion. Now, these are shots I normally wouldn't risk with a cinema camera, or they just take too long to rig up. It literally took me 1 minute to set this shot up by myself using one coffee cup and a long magic arm from Condor Blue.
I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been testing so much, all these wrestlers nice, all these different situations that I've been through.
So for this next test, we headed over to Joshua Tree where my buddy Aaron was hired to shoot this interview setup, so he asked me to help out and bring my URSA 12K. So I thought it would be fun to put my iPhone and do a side-by-side comparison, especially since we would be recording in Blackmagic RAW with the URSA 12K. So something new with the iPhone 17 Pro is now you're able to record in ProRes RAW. Now, why would you want to record in RAW? So typically when you record in RAW, you will have more color information. You're also able to change certain values like white balance, ISO, your exposure, and also color space. This makes it so much easier to match other cameras while also giving you more latitude when color grading. Also, since we're able to record in open gate, we're able to now have a 16:9 or 9:16 option for a deliverable, which I think is great. So since my angle was technically not going to be used in the production, I decided to put it next to the A-cam so I can test out different focal lengths, test out different codecs, Apple ProRes RAW HQ, Apple ProRes RAW, Apple ProRes 422, and see if it really makes a difference to shoot in those high quality modes. So this is our A-cam, the URSA 12K, and we filmed this in 8K open gate in a 5:1 compression ratio. I know, completely overkill for a talking head, but hey, we're nerds and we love to test things out. Now here's the iPhone in Apple ProRes RAW HQ, and honestly, it looks great. This isn't so much about whether the iPhone can look like an URSA 12K, because the answer is clearly no, but more in line as to whether we can get a good and usable image as a possible C-cam option, or even a secondary angle for social media, and the answer is absolutely yes. Now, when I swap over to Apple ProRes RAW, honestly, I couldn't tell the difference. Even when pixel peeping and zooming in, there was a little bit more information in the shadows in RAW HQ, but honestly, I don't think it's worth the storage space. Now, when I switched over to Apple ProRes HQ, you can clearly see a difference. It still looks good, don't get me wrong, but the forehead is telling. It now looks like a hotspot compared to the RAW versions where the highlight roll-off is much better. Also, when you're not filming in RAW, there's less flexibility when color grading. Not to mention, you lose the ability to record in open gate, as that's only available in the RAW codecs. I also wanted to test out different focal lengths on the iPhone to see if there would be any quality loss. So this is the 13mm ultra wide, and here's where you could really see a massive difference compared to the URSA. The dynamic range isn't even close. Just look at the window. I can tell you that it was a bright day, and the fact that the URSA can see all that information is wild. Same with his forehead. It's smooth on the URSA, but on the iPhone, it's definitely hot. But I think my favorite was the 48mm focal length. To me, that was actually a pretty decent second cam option that actually cut very well with the URSA. Like, I wouldn't be mad if I had to use that angle, especially if I was in a pinch. Since I was already in Joshua Tree, I decided to hit up my friend Chris, who I actually met through Cam Mackey. He owns Cascade Trails, super nice guy. If you're ever in Joshua Tree, definitely hit him up. I wanted to do some more tests there, do some slow motion, and also put the iPhone in weird situations where you would probably not normally use a cinema camera. So for one of the shots, I had Chris hold a custom rig that I built to get a really cool POV shot of him riding the horse. Now, normally I wouldn't use a cinema camera because it would just be too heavy. I mean, sure, there's like chest rigs where you could put a GoPro or even helmet cams, but that requires rigging, too much time. Something like this, I literally just handed him the iPhone rig and he felt comfortable riding the horse. And we were able to get this really cool shot, but I also wanted to see what his thoughts were on being able to get a shot like this using an iPhone. Normally, holding a camera, especially for an experienced rider like yourself, that's a little heavy.
It is.
something like this with grips, how did you feel like riding with it?
You know, this actually worked really good. I switched to 2 hands on the reins, so I could put one hand and the reins on each side, and I was able to still pretty much control my horse fairly decently. There were a couple times where I had to go one-handed, but I feel like the stabilizer made the picture really cool because it let me kind of, everywhere I turned the horse's head, keep the camera right above the horse's head. So it was really cool to watch it.
Now, if you guys see the footage, it may look a little janky because we are doing this like ghetto setup for the ND. So because it's such an ultra wide lens, there is a little bit of light leak on the side here. Obviously, this is not meant for the iPhone. We just kind of rigged it together.
Okay.
But it was just to kind of give you guys an example. But from what you've seen of the quality, what do you think so far?
I think the picture was awesome. I mean, it's even cooler that you rigged this up to hold the phone. Knowing you and all the things you build, Mondo, this is just another notch on the belt. But to see the picture come out, and then when you guys let me watch the playback, like, wow, I didn't notice any of the light that you were talking about. I just saw a really cool shot.
Well, dude, thanks, man. Again, if you're ever in Joshua Tree, come down, hit up Chris. I'm gonna leave his Instagram down below. Really nice guy. Awesome place to film. Thanks again, man. It's raining.
You.
We gotta go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. The iPhone 17 Pro is not replacing a cinema camera, but it keeps proving itself as a legit filmmaking tool. From getting in practical shots, to being able to hold its own next to an URSA 12K, to action-packed slow motion in Joshua Tree. This thing keeps surprising me. And the best part is it's a camera that can literally fit in my pocket. I do plan to make more iPhone 17 Pro content, so make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on those future videos. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Mo, also Greg from Loyalty Inc., and Chris from Cascade Trails, and everybody that contributed to this project. I'm going to leave links to their Instagram or YouTube channels down below in the description. My name is Armando. Thanks again for watching, and you will catch me in the next one. Adios.